Hey, everybody, welcome to this special edition of Small Town Underground. We appreciate all the support that you give us. Please make sure to like, share, subscribe. And on this special episode today that we're airing, we're talking with a man named Joe Lombardi. And Joe Lombardi, I believe it's a CEO, right? He's got Ironhawk Financial. And we've been trying to get him on the show. We had to do a couple little reschedules here, but I want to give you guys a little background because this is some great information that anybody can take with them. We're living in very hard financial times right now, and we need all the help we can get. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background, and then we'll get started. He is the founder, CEO, and managing partner of Ironhawk Financial, and which is a privately held financial services firm headquartered in Cheshire, Connecticut. And his drive into the services stemmed from a family tragedy. His father owned a successful $15 million construction company, and he suffered a severe workplace accident, falling 30 feet from a ladder, leading to a disability, loss of the business, major financial hardships for the family. This experience, coupled with Lombardi stepping up young to help care for his sister, shaped his focus on protection and risk management for families and blue-collar small business owners. So, Mr. Lombardi, I appreciate you making time for us. And wow, I'd like to kind of start with a little bit of your background. Can you just kind of tell us a story, man, how you got involved in all this?
Yeah, so I mean, it started before I was even born. You know, my mom wanted to murder me. She wanted an abortion, but my dad was pro-life. Thank God.
Wow.
R.I.P. Dad.
Wow.
And I just came into this world. My mom wanted to do drugs and alcohol, and she ended up dying at 52 because of it. So, and that was a whole nother story. So, it's one of those things where every day's a blessing from Jesus and from God, and it was tough. I was born in Bridgeport, went to Clearwater, Florida, lived born. I actually have a Florida social, even though I was born in Connecticut. And because back then in the 80s, it was when you filed, not when you were born. You could leave the hospital without social back then, but now they won't let you leave without your slave number before you're 3 minutes old.
I love it. Slave number.
Social security number, same thing.
Yeah.
So when you and then shortly after that, my mom was like, I don't want to do this anymore. She used to be like fully dressed to go out before my dad pulled in the driveway to from his construction company. And so my dad was like, okay, I'm out. And we moved to 65 Main Street in Trumbull, Connecticut. We moved to the attic with no running water, slept on the floor, peed and pooped in a bucket and carried it 3 stories down to, get rid of it. And ate noodles and eggs with ketchup and hamburger helper at the hamburger meat, and never showered. So I was the poor, fat, smelly kid in a nice school in Connecticut. That was fun, being bullied every day. And at the end of the day, my dad's business ended up taking off about 4 or 5 years later in the mid to late 90s. If you had a truck and a hammer, you could make six figures when the housing market boomed, especially in Connecticut. So then we moved to Fairfield, even richer town than Trumbull. And then my grandmother sold her house. She moved in with us. We bought a foreclosure, fixed it up. Then shortly after that, my sister was born, and my stepmom, we found out through the pregnancy that she was drinking vanilla extract and Listerine during pregnancy.
Oh my God.
Because my dad was in AA since 91, because, that was right around when MAD came out, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. He was afraid of custody of me. So he created DAM, Drunks Against Mad Mothers, but he didn't have enough members, I guess. So, he ended up quitting, and then, found this nice, wonderful woman who almost murdered my sister. I guess he's good at finding women that like killing kids.
Oh no.
So, and then so he fell. She's in rehab. I'm 15, so it was like, I can't say nothing, or DCF gets involved, and then I go to this home, she goes to that home, and God knows how many years before I go back to my original home, so I didn't know how long my dad was going to be in the hospital. So I ended up working at the daycare. I dropped out of football, track, and basketball, Fairfield Ward, started working at Child's Garden on Mona Terrace Daycare, and I'd walk down Tungus Hill and eat Burger King every day because that's all I could afford with my paycheck from working at the daycare. And really shaped a lot of my life. And my intrigue of finance started when I was 12 years old. My dad was doing a job, going to Greenwich. He worked with the CEO of the NFL, CEO of Coca-Cola at the time. and Paul Newman. And, we were at this house, and it was like an amazing house. I'm talking the nice house I've ever seen. So he's like, go play with the kid's son while I price out this, $500,000 bathroom, because those guys have
Right.
this guy had a lot of money. I know who he was, right? So I had a blast, go down this guy's elevator, like 4 stories, and the freaking doors open up, and there's a baseball field under his house.
You got to be kidding me.
I'm like, did I die in the elevator? Like, what the hell is this? So we ended up having like a blast. He had like a Chuck E. Cheese on steroids. He had a basketball court, he had a baseball field, all underground. Like, it was just craziest thing I've ever seen. So make a long story short, I get back in the truck, and I'm like, Dad, what does this guy do? And he's like, oh, I work on Wall Street. I'm like, what the hell is Wall Street? I don't know. But I want to work there. I don't know what it is. I'm 12. So since I was 12, I was like, I want to work on Wall Street. So fast forward to, when my dad had JV Lombardi Builders, and he created JV Lombardi Builders and Sons LLC. And I was going to work with him. And shortly before I graduated high school, he falls. And then I'm like, okay, well, that path ain't working out. So then I realized my dad was worth millions of dollars. How the hell did he not have a disability policy? And I remember, I'm aging myself, answering machines. I remember listening to answering machines like, hey, this is blow up so-and-so from Northwestern Mutual or MetLife or Guardian or Mass Mutual, and we need to meet. And he was always like, no, I'm Superman. His calves were bigger than my head, because he worked in masonry with my grandfather before he went into construction. So he was a very strong guy, and like very strong, like just jacked. His brother, Davey, ended up dying from Agent Orange, but he was even more jacked. And I was like, damn, these Sicilians are crazy, So, well, fast forward, I'm like, okay, what do? So God intervened. I call them stepping stones in life. And I don't know if you see numbers on the clock, but I see 1, 2, 3, 4, like everywhere. Like, I can tell you a story when I'm chopping carrots at an old folks home. And the microwave blinking 1, 2, 3, 4, and I look, it's not even plugged in, right? And that was when I was 17, and then for the last 26 years, I just see it everywhere.
Right.
So it's one of those things where I think I have a guardian angel, because I shouldn't be here. The stuff that happened to me in my life. Grew up in the streets, no mom, dad working all the time. Dropped off at TLC. I called torturing little children, but it was called tender loving care daycare. So it's one of those things where I lived an insanely crazy life, and somehow I had a guardian angel. I used to drive 160 miles an hour, and somehow I'm still here, right?
Wow.
So when you look at it, it's like I was bartending, and then the CEO of Northwestern Mutual comes in. He's like, leaves me $1,000 tip. It says, that's your bonus. You're coming to work with me. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
So at 19 years old, got in the business,
Wow. So you were bartending, and that's you basically talking to this guy in finance, and he hires you.
Right on the spot. It was the best service he ever had. He said I had all the skill sets to be successful as a financial planner. And I'm studying finance at college, so I lived in Fairfield. I worked in Westport. I know these towns your viewers may not understand, but think 20 miles south I worked, and then 25 miles north I went to school, college, and then 45 miles north was my girlfriend at the time, which is now my wife. So I've been driving 70,000 miles a year, it was crazy. And I could always tell if I was stoned or not, because I was either driving 150 or I was driving 60 in the right lane, looking around. So it was one of those things where the way things happened, from the standpoint of a young kid to the bartending, to the CEO coming in to give me a bonus, to my dad falling, and then shortly after that, my mom dies at 52 from cirrhosis of liver. She died 10/3/09. My first child was born 11/3/09. I have 3 kids.
Man.
And that crippled me, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and financially. She had no life insurance. I was like, oh, fudge. So, that took 10, 15 years of my life where I was dealing with extreme anxiety, depression, panic attacks, because I just never mended that relationship with my mother, which was really hard. And then, I was able to go through it again, thank God, found Jesus and cured all my anxiety and depression, and taught me a lot that I have now, of who I am now. And, and then about a year after my mom dies, my grandmother has a stroke, leads to dementia. Dementia doesn't kill you. So she's in a nursing home for 7 years. And next thing we know, $4.2 million is stolen by the state of Connecticut.
Oh my God.
So she had no long-term care. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, come on. Like this life you're showing me is like nothing but suffering, nothing but pain, right? And I had two choices. I was like, I could be the victim, oh, boo-hoo, my mommy doesn't love me. Everyone makes fun of me. I'm bullied. I'm fat. I'm poor. or I could do something about it, right? So I literally took all that negative energy I had for a long time and turned it into fuel and motivation to protect people. And I can say I'm one of the lucky ones because I knew what I wanted to do at 12 years old. There's still 35-year-olds with no clue what they want to do, and they've already wasted 20 years of their working life. So when you look at it, it's like I'm going to say lucky because I was able to see both sides. I was able to see extreme poverty and extreme wealth. Like there was a point in time where I had brand new Jordans, authentic Jordan jersey, going to Yankees games, going to the Giants, NFL games, and that didn't last too long because my dad fallen, and then going back to being impoverished, So it was one of those things where I said, you know what? I was lucky enough to see both sides. And if I had to choose between extremely poor, extremely rich, I'll choose extremely rich any day of the week. That's why for the last 24 years, it's been grinding 10, 12, 14-hour days in my business, building a national brand and 4,000 clients and $4 billion and, of rollovers and protection. And I've written 3 5-star rated books, and I've been featured in many publications like the Top 40 Under 40 or the Who's Who in Building and Construction. Like, what the hell's a financial guy doing on a building construction magazine? I work with over 1,000, blue collar building businesses. So it was one of those things where I didn't quit. I realized that I'm here for a reason. I shouldn't be here. I died in Cancun. They brought me back to life. Got taken by a undertow when I was 13. And drowned and, resuscitated. And, I go on and on stories.
Yeah, I had a friend die in Cancun that way. That's crazy, the similarities. That my father was an alcoholic. He was in AA. I worked in the union as a welder. I worked with a bunch of guys from Connecticut. Of course, I'm from the north, but I had a friend that died in an undertow like that. That's wild, man. What a story.
Yeah, so it's like everything happened. I saw my dad disabled, no disability. My mom died, no life insurance. My grandmother need care, no long-term care, and the state will just suck all your assets. Title 19, we give you $1,200 and then give you $60 a month from your pensions and your Social Security while they just steal everything.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I said, how many other people? My dad was worth $20 million. How many other people that aren't worth that much don't have any plan?
Right.
And then I joined at this time. I went from Northwestern to Barnum, which was like MetLife's #1 office, worked in Wall Street, worked in Manhattan for Northwest for Guardian. And like while I was there, like I would just fly on the highway because you could tell like I'm high functioning ADHD, so I just gotta go. And so like I would just fly and then I would see ABC Electric, 123 Plumbing, John's Landscaping.
Sure.
And I'd pull behind them. Why? Because there's a cell phone number on the back of the truck. And I'd be like, hey, my father was Joe Lombardi Builders. He fell 3 stories off a ladder, lost everything. Can I buy you a cup of coffee at the next Dunkin' Donuts exit or a breakfast sandwich and protect your family and save you millions of dollars in taxes?
Sure.
And people were like, okay. And so I got a roofer. Well, who's a roofer? No, they know a plumber. Plumber knows electrician. Electrician knows a drywall. A drywall knows a painter. A painter knows a driveway guy. And so I just kept getting referred and getting in part of the HBRA, Home Building Remodeling Association for Connecticut and Western Massachusetts. And I just was driving, talking, networking, home show events, and just grinding for decades. And I built this huge clientele. It was amazing. Awesome. Just from working the weekends, right? Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm at the show with the contractors. I worked Monday through Thursday. My wife, was amazing, raised all 3 of our kids. I was there. I'm not going to say I was an absent father. Sure. I was at a game. I coached them. I did all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if I wasn't working and I wasn't playing or with my family, I was sleeping.
Gotcha.
There was no video games. There was no Netflix shows.
Right. Determination.
Grind. No CNN, no Fox News. I don't give a shit what's going on in media.
Right.
I'd rather make my own media than listen to some liar read a teleprompter of lies to me. So when you look at it, I was like, okay, let me just keep doing this.
Right.
You just keep showing me that this is what I need to do. And then doing this for 4 years, I'm seeing the results now.
Right.
Policies I sold 20 years ago, people are dying. People are needing care. People, and I had a client at 38 years old commit suicide with 2 young daughters, 4 and 1, and the wife didn't work. And I was able to deliver a $7-figure check to her. And
Wow.
it didn't replace her husband, it replaced the daughter's father, but at least while she was emotionally, mentally, and spiritually just destroyed, she didn't have to be financially destroyed. So
Wow.
it was one of those things where kids are going to college now. I set up plans 15 years ago, and I get to see the benefits because this is a long-term game. And in construction, it's short-term gratification. Someone needs a kitchen done. Within a month, the homeowners, like, you've seen HGTV, they're like, oh, it's beautiful, I love it. And you get that rush of like, yeah, I did that.
Yeah, right.
Awesome. My business is more like long-term, like I don't want you to die. I don't want you to care. But unfortunately, we all die. Nobody escapes this rock alive. We come into the world in diapers. And if you're lucky, you go out of this world in diapers. If you don't, that means you died before that happened. So it's one of those things where it's like it's a necessary evil.
Yes.
I didn't plan to be in this role, but I got very blessed to get in here. And then I was able to work with multimillionaires, sports athletes, celebrities, Fortune 500 companies, and I see what they do. And I was like, that's not what everybody else does. They don't do IRAs, 401ks, SEP, Simples, pension, brokerage accounts. They don't keep their money in the bank. They don't pay any taxes. Everybody else does. Like, you remember when Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were on stage in 2016, and Hillary's like, show your taxes, bad orange man. And Donald's like, I don't pay taxes.
Yeah,
I use
exactly.
IRS codes that your donors use in your 30 years to close the loophole, and you did it. Remember that debate?
Yes, absolutely.
And that went over 300 million Americans' heads.
Yeah, well, you're right. It didn't go over mine.
I would have been like, what the hell is Donald doing? I don't want to pay that. But everyone's just like, oh, I can't do it because I'm not a billionaire. No, you can.
No, you can't.
IRS code. That's all it is.
Well, good. You brought up so many things to talk about. An amazing story. So what I want to do is talk a little bit because we're insurance. Things like you're talking about, a financially secure future, not everybody gets, right? I happen to work a job with insurance, and we get these, and we own a bail bonding company. We have insurance policies, but not a lot of people know, like, what separates you from the garbage out there. Kind of tell us about that.
Yeah, so I appreciate that question, and I thought you looked like Dog the Bounty Hunter Jr. over there. So what separates me is that I've been on all sides of investments, insurance. I've securities license, 63, 65, life and health, property casualty. I've sold health insurance, and Obamacare came in. He stole $250,000 a year of revenue that took me 5 years to build. Thanks, Obama. To a good health insurance. No, it's not good health insurance. Will everyone pay health insurance? I don't even carry health insurance for me or my children. It's not even worth it. So when I make millions of dollars a year, I just don't. I'm not a sucker. I don't want to be taken advantage of. So when you look at what's going on, what separates me is that I do what millionaires, billionaires do for clients.
Okay.
I don't do what makes me the most money. I do what makes my clients the most money.
Okay.
And the fact that I deal in volume, the fact that I'm a broker. But when I worked at MetLife, it was MetLife Auto, MetLife Home, MetLife Disability, MetLife Annuities, MetLife Life Insurance, MetLife Long-Term Care. They weren't the best at any of them, but I had to sell shitty products to clients because that's all I could sell.
Right.
That's an active agent.
I got you.
So then I realized this isn't the right thing to do because then clients would shop it and be like, Joe, you're like 20% higher. And I'm like, MetLife's the best. That's what my sales manager says because he takes 20% of all my business. And then I realized the game. Then I realized the snakes. I realized the lies. I realized Wall Street, where they teach you. They literally teach you. I've never seen Boiler Room. But
I've seen the movie, yeah.
They teach you that, listen, get the assets. If the market goes up, great job, Joe Lombardi. If the market goes down, tell them it's a great time to buy low. Great job, Joe Lombardi. And either way, you rob them blind.
Gotcha.
And I was like, that sounds demonic, unethical.
Like the Wolf of Wall Street, the Fugazi or whatever.
Yeah, it's all Fugazi. Yeah, blah, blah, yeah. So
exactly.
When you understand the real truth that the government owns the educational system teaches you to invest with the government. That is what I call a conflict of interest, and that is what I call a monopoly. The same thing that they put Facebook on trial. Oh, you don't have a monopoly. It's like, you're the freaking biggest demonic monopoly in the world. How are you
Sure.
So when you understand the game, you understand that your slave number is enslaving you. And you understand that the strategy of the government is, do they care if you're white, black, Chinese, Indian? Do they care anymore? No. Everybody's enslaved.
Right.
And then you have very wealthy people with financial advisors, insurance agents, CPAs, estate planning attorneys. And I'm talking these guys were 20, 30, $50 million. And I'm looking at their accounts and I'm like, you're not diversified. What are you talking about, Joe? I have real estate. I have IRA. My wife has a 401k. I have brokerage. I have a rental properties. I have crypto. I have gold and silver. I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. Right. So all those assets you just mentioned, when the market goes down, where do they all go? Same direction. What happens with taxes go up? What happens? All of your assets are taxable. So you have no diversification on your downside protection. You have no diversification on your market exposure. And so what makes me different is that I don't sell high fee crap, because when you look at a 401k or an IRA, like your investment advisor has your assets under management. I was one of those until I woke up to how demonic I was, not realizing it, because that's what we were programmed.
Right.
When you look at that, right, you're thinking, well, why is having assets under management bad? I only pay 1.5%. Well, let's just take like a minute, and I can prove it to you through numbers that you're being robbed, right?
All right.
If I put away $15,000 a year, I do it for 30 years, 450 grand in contributions, S&P 500, 7%, 6.8 since 01. That's be worth around 3 to 5 million.
Okay.
Let's just take the lower number, 3 million. What's 1.5% of 3 million?
Oh, Lord.
It's 45 grand.
Okay.
1% is 30, and then half of 30 is 15. You add them together, it's 45 grand. That was my year 1, year 2, and year 3 contributions stolen from me year 30. What about year 29, when it's worth 2.8 million? That would be my 4th year, my 5th year, and 10 months of my 6th year contribution is stolen from me year 29.
I see. Yes.
So when you look at it, over 50, let me repeat that, over 50% of what you contribute is stolen from Wall Street. Stolen from your account. And then you have this thing that's accumulating. That's only half of it. Because when you accumulate money, what do you have to do with it? Distribute it. If not to you, to your children. Because your IRA is going to transfer to them. Your 401k is going to transfer to them. Not because the government's nice, because they're going to tax the shit out of your kids. So when you look at it, now I do distribution. What do I have? Federal, state tax. Well, assuming taxes don't go up, that's another 50%.
Right. God.
Yeah, over 50% of my money stolen on the way up, 50% of my money stolen on the way down. What does that leave me?
Very little.
22%.
That's insane.
And people are signing up to these things. And you know what the funniest, well, it's not funny, the saddest thing is that nobody knows what a 401k is. I'm going to put you on the spot, Roy.
Okay.
If you had to just tell me, not what it does, what it is. What is a 401k? I
mean, a 401k that I can think of is where you put you get a percentage of your paycheck put into a 401k like an IRA, Roth fund, and then the company matches us up to a certain percent of whatever that you actually tell them to, and then they take your money and they invest it in the stock market.
That's what it does.
Right. Okay.
Is it, right? I'm not going to put you on the spot. It's an IRS code.
I see.
So IRS code 401k.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
403b. What's a 529? College savings. What's a 457?
God, I don't know.
IRS code 403b. IRS code 450. Those are IRS codes.
I see.
So you're involuntarily entrapping your money for decades.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And if you need money as an adult,
you
can't work as a child, if you need money as an adult, the government comes in and says, bad boy, Roy, I'm going to charge you a 10% penalty, federal tax, state tax, FICA, Medicare, unemployment, Social Security tax on your money.
And they restrict what you can do with your money as well.
So why, as an adult, would a sane, educated American citizen put their money there?
Well, it's obvious because we're not educated in this stuff. We don't get taught these things. We don't get educated on what we should do or what possibilities that there are.
Well, You learned the quadratic formula, didn't you?
I don't remember that.
Plus minus b over 2ac over 2ab, all that crap. Didn't they teach us that? Algebra,
Oh
calculus.
Lord,
They don't teach
yes.
us how to balance a checkbook. They don't teach us to go in debt as a 17-year-old with $400,000 in debt,
Yeah.
which cost us almost $2 million.
No, no. Instead, you're going to the grocery line and they're offering you a credit card every time you check out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, they are enslaving
Yes.
us.
I agree with you, man.
And they're doing it in the form of who cares about your future self? I mean, look at our $40 trillion in debt,
Man.
usbank.org. Look
Yes.
at 9/11, where they sent a missile in the Pentagon to kill all the forensic accountants that were trying to figure out where $4 trillion was
That's
stolen.
right.
So
Amen.
when you look at what really is going on, why are you investing in the most demonic entity on earth, which is the American government? Now, I love my country.
I couldn't agree more.
When you understand it, people are like, well, I don't know what to do. I just buy all this gold and silver, and I love my gold and silver. I named this one Tony. He's amazing, and I feel so safe with my gold and silver. It doesn't do shit for you. So
All right.
when you understand what the rich people do,
Okay.
your job as an American citizen, as a father, as a business owner, as a husband or a wife, or an ex, right?
Yeah.
Is to make sure that the time, that's God's gift to us, is time. And you're trading that time for, in this world, at this moment of time, you're trading it for $1.
Okay. Right.
So if you're converting your time, which is your most valuable asset, and God can only give it to you and God can only take it away. If you are converting that time into dollars, wouldn't you spend more time figuring out what I need to do with this dollar when the Bible, you claim to be a Christian, the Bible states the number one topic in the Bible isn't treat thy neighbor as thyself, isn't how God's amazing, you need to follow him, which I believe those last two things very well. But the number one thing spoken in the Bible is money.
Yeah.
It's one of the most important things in this thing we called earth and reality and world.
And perhaps that's why the system is against us.
Well, people know more about their favorite baseball player's batting average than they do about their retirement assets.
Right. I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
So it's what my job is not come work with Ironhawk Financial. My job is to just wake up, do your own research, go down rabbit holes of factual information, look at the 100-year federal tax bracket picture. Do you know that in 1912, ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms tax, was optional? Do you know that it became mandatory in 1913? Well, why do I care, Joe? It's 100 years ago. You care. Listen. So if it was mandatory, you know what that rate was? 7.5%. Then did you know within 48 months of it being optional to mandatory, it jumped to 77.5% highest marginal federal tax bracket? Did they teach that in school? No, the government's not teach you that, they're screwing you. So of course not. So you're talking about going up 1,000% in 4 years. Isn't that where that term gives somebody an inch, they take a mile?
Yeah.
Give an inch, they take literally 7,000 billion miles. So when you look at it, and again, fact check me. Just go to Google, type in 100-year federal tax bracket picture. Now, if you're on that and you're looking at it, it jumps to 77. That was World War I. We win World War I. Do you know after all of our children died, sent overseas to fight this war, all these things that happened, the reward for changing our auto manufacturer in Michigan and Texas into tanks and Humvees, what was the reward? Well, it was 7.5%. Well, we went to war, Joe. Of course, we had to increase taxes. Well, what was the reward for all the death of our children and changing entire companies and generation of businesses to military style? Our reward was it went to 25%. Man. So they only increased it 300%. Thank you. And then we had this thing once it was 25%. If you are following along, we had this thing called the Great Depression. Remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Do you know what
Absolutely.
the federal government did during the Great Depression when there was lines of food, lines of gas, people were just literally dying in the streets of starvation? They reduced the taxation from 25% to 24%. 1 year. And then after Great Depression, put it back to 25.
This is
That's our
criminal.
no. And then what happened after Great Depression? You remember this thing with Germany? What was it called?
World
World
War
War II.
II.
So it jumped from 25% to 94% at the high.
My God.
You don't have to, again, please fact check. Men lie, women lie, numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even I've never thought of these numbers in this context. This is insane.
So 94% highest marginal. Can you imagine like you work in
I
94%?
cannot.
This is some people lived, believe it or not. So then we win World War II. You know what they did? They dropped it from 94% to 85%.
My God.
And then it only took till Reagan to drop us back down in the 80s.
Right.
Because in the 1980s, the highest marginal tax rate was 70%. In the 1960s, it was 92%.
Jesus.
So why do you think? Do you remember when Trump just took office? I don't know if you remember this article. Do you remember the missiles that were shooting from Ukraine over to Russia right before Trump was about to take office?
Yes.
The last neocon movement to try and push World War III before Mr. Peaceman Trump came into play. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Well, why were they doing that? Well, World War I, taxes went from 7.5% to 77.5%. World War II, they went from 25% to 94%. Right now, we're at 35%. We're at $40 trillion.
Yeah.
Go to usdeadclock.org and fact check me.
That's right.
And they wanted to jump that back up to 90. So let me go back to my story of that Americans that even are wealthy are not diversifying their money properly because their house is taxable, their rental property is taxable, their business is taxable, their 401k is taxable, their IRA is taxable, their brokerage account is taxable, their crypto account on Robinhood is taxable, their gold and silver they're storing in their basement and putting fake hair on it and petting it and giving it nice names to make it feel safe and warm. If there's an apocalypse, they ain't going to do a goddamn thing. Those type of assets are taxable. So they're not diversifying. So, we're taught, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And as Americans, even wealthy ones are doing it to this day.
Yeah, the taxes are criminal. I was going to say, I thought it was sitting about 37%. It's at 35%.
It was 39.6.
Yes. Yeah. So it's been fluctuating.
39.6.
So, I mean, like
9, Republicans 35.
Gosh, it's overwhelming the amount of information you're sharing. All of this tax. I mean, like it just seems like give us an example, maybe like where would somebody want to start with this? You said do your own research, but where would somebody that's got a lot of debt right now, and then maybe they're listening, and it's like give them a place to start. Like what would you look into?
Well, let me be very clear, Roy.
Okay.
I work with clients who make $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 a year.
Okay.
Their net worth is negative.
I see.
Negative. I have clients that husband is a truck driver, wife's a nurse or a teacher. They make like $86,000 a year, and they're worth millions with an S of dollars.
Wow. Okay.
And an easy way to relate what I'm saying is think of people that win the lottery, rappers, sports athletes, celebrities who get hundreds of millions of dollars, and not within decades, within years. They're not broke, they're bankrupt. So they lost the hundreds of millions of dollars and then spent even more, because in order to claim bankruptcy, your net worth has to be negative.
Gotcha.
So the thing with money that everybody has wrong, and there's a bunch of myths we can get into if you care to. The number, well, not the number one, a thing with money that people have is they think, Roy, if I just made more money, I'd be rich. Not true.
Okay.
What people do is they use dollars to fill a hole in their heart that should be filled with Jesus and self-love.
I agree with that.
And when you look at spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physical health, are multipliers to your financial wealth.
Right.
And the average American has so much trauma, and they do not live in God's present. Do you know what a present is, Roy? It's a gift.
Yes. Yeah.
People live in the past and they live in depression. I wish I could have, would have, should have. My girlfriend, I cheated, I did drugs, I got arrested, and they live in the past.
Yeah.
And then you have people that live in the future. Oh my God, I was going to have it with Sarah. Sarah was going to do it, the Dodd-Frank Act. They're going to clear my account. I was going to have it with crypto, all the digital currencies coming in. I don't know what's going on. And they cripple themselves to live in the present.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
And if you're not living in the present and you're living in the past and are filled with depression, you're living in the future and you're filled with anxiety, you cannot live in God's present.
Right.
And if you're able to live in God's presence, that is the only way you can grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, and financially is what we're talking about now. And the problem with that is not I don't make enough money. The problem is that I don't love who I am, and God created you. No matter what color you are, height you are, what disability you have, you are beautiful.
Right.
And it's one of those things that the average person that has all this debt, they use dollars to cover that pain in their heart instead of using Jesus, who given you that time to transfer that dollar. So those are Jesus dollars or God's dollars. And you're not using it the right way. You're using it to buy a car you can't afford to impress a neighbor who doesn't like you.
Right.
You're using that dollar to impress opposite sex or same sex, right? It's 2026. To make them like you. And they're drunk scrolling and 1 a.m. to buy a piece of China-made plastic colored to think that that's going to make them happy.
Right.
What makes people happy is predictability, something I was fearful for 30 years of my life. I never wanted to be a robot. I always wanted excitement. I have high-functioning ADHD. I always wanted something new. I always want to go somewhere. I don't want to be a robot. I'm 41. I'll be 42 in 2 days. I was like, I don't want to be old. I want to be this kid. I want to wear my hat backwards.
Sure.
Like this. And it was one of those things where like predictability of your finances is one of the most important things you can have for your mental and emotional, spiritual health. And then if you have predictability of your income, you can actually change your physical health by not rushing what you feed and put in your body, by researching all the toxins the government's giving us, by getting your ass to the gym and work. I've lost 40 pounds. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm better than I was yesterday.
Right. And I think the world we live in now, I'm sure you see this all the time, especially a lot of people live paycheck to paycheck, the inflation. We're hearing stories about people having to affirm pizzas, break it up into payments. So, I mean, people are hurting out there. And a lot of these young folks don't even know how to budget their money.
It's sad. These young people are put at such a huge disadvantage, especially the suckers who bought into the lie that your education makes you money. That's not true.
Yes, agree.
You don't need a college degree to do what I do, and I make more money than 60% of NFL football players.
Wow, that's impressive.
And it just came through grind. Like if you're willing to work hard, I know masons that bust their ass every day. They make $400,000 a year.
Absolutely.
I know painters that just paint houses who make $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like electricians.
Well, it's part of the big lie we've been sold about education. Well, if you graduate, you got to go to college and get a degree and, bullshit. Some kind of music, political science, when really the trades are where we've been needing. We've been needing hands-on, skilled labor. Those people out there, I'm one of those people that have made my money out there with my hands, and that's what we need more of.
We do, and it comes down to the if you realize the culture puts a bad stigma on a janitor, puts a bad stigma
on the garbage man,
and even like my industry, they look at like oh, that's a contractor, oh, that's an alcoholic who beats his wife, he has no money.
Right.
Like I made millions of dollars in that market, I handle billions of dollars from that market.
Right.
So like when you look at it, it's like people have such a misconception. You have to critically think. And that's another problem with our culture.
Yes.
That people are looking for somebody else to save them when the only person that can save them is Jesus and self-love.
That's right.
And every millionaire I've met either loves themselves, is God-fearing, cares about people. Because you can care about yourself, but you're a phony and you're going to get called out pretty soon. That's why in my industry, 95% of people to make it to year 4. So,
Wow.
which is great for me. It's more market share.
Sure,
But it,
sure.
it comes down to, it's like, it takes self-love, self-discipline. What's that word in our society? We don't
Yeah,
listen.
right.
Treating thyself as thy neighbor and thy neighbor as himself. It's screw you. What can you do for me?
Right.
Oh, you're not valuable to me? Screw you. So when you look at it, it's having this thing, this weird word. Ready for this, Roy? Empathy.
Empathy. Sure.
That took me 6
You know,
months of Bible study to realize I didn't have empathy at that time.
I think you're bringing up some really good points because our culture kind of creates this. We're living in this social media landscape now. Like I remember my children growing up, and when YouTube, I grew up pre-internet, of course, but like my children, and we've owned our same house for the last 25 years, and it's not anything special. It's a nice house. But I remember my kid watching these YouTube videos of these families that took off to Disney. They did the whole channel. And then they would turn the phone or something and look and say, why don't we have a house like that? And I'm like, that would have never occurred to me as a child. So I think you bring up a good point. Our culture that pushes this debtness, right? Everything's got to be debt-based. We want the Affirm. We want these credit cards. We want school debt. They want to keep us trapped in debt. And so a lot of our culture is debt-based. Our whole government is based on debt, our money system. So it's an inherent problem right now.
And it's not getting better, and it's gonna, like,
Yeah.
my oldest son. I can afford college. I can pay college in cash tomorrow.
Right.
But I'm not having my oldest go to college. He was like, unless you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor,
Right.
be a lawyer. You're going there for research psychology. You're going there for gender studies. You're going there for sports medicine.
No way.
Yeah, like,
Same.
I spent $400,000. I know all about genders. Well, there's only 2, dumbass. So when you look at, like, the truth of what's going on,
Yeah.
you, as a parent, you have to tell your children the truth. You have to treat your children as adults. And I'm not here to, like, parent your kids. I'm just telling you what works with me. When I treat my 16-year-old as an adult, he's learning how to act like an adult.
Right.
And then having a young man, which I have 2 boys and a girl, having a young man, he says, Dad, I want to do what you do. And I'm like, why? Because I showed you I made like $500,000 in a week.
Right.
Buy a Lambo, or are you doing it because you actually give a shit about people?
Right. You want to make a good life.
So it's like, he's like, no, Dad, I see what you do. I hear you on the phone. I hear people panic when they talk to you, and I feel how happy they are after they meet you. I see your 5-star reviews on Google. I see you have no complaints in 24 years with an A+ rating on the Better Business Bureau.
Wow.
He's like, I see the difference you're doing. You talked about that. One of your clients commit suicide. You talk about how you kept an old lady from losing her home and going to a nursing home, and she was able to stay in her house and die in dignity and peace. And it's like the stuff that I'm able to do is like, I feel like I'm living in God's energy. Because again, I died. I lived an insanely bad childhood. I grew up in the streets, drugs, sex. I mean, you name it, robbing. Like, I was a horrible kid. I had so many times I could have got pinched and got something on my record, and then I never could do this and handle all this money, right? So I was blessed. There's a lot of people who aren't. So you have to understand that, like, God gives you whatever your starting position isn't your fault. It's not my fault I was born to a woman and wanted to murder me. It wasn't my fault I was born white. It wasn't my fault I was born in the ghetto broke. Like, none of that stuff is my fault. Right. I was able to learn from it. I was able to, suffer because, most of us suffer. But I was able to not be a victim.
Right.
That's where most people, our culture is victim.
Victim mentality, absolutely.
Like, oh, I'm black, I'm a victim. Oh, I'm a gay black, I'm a super victim. Yeah. I'm a transgender black, I'm super victim. Yeah. And it's like, who gives a shit? Get out there, find God, work your ass off, and live whatever life you want. Have sex whatever the hell you want. But stop living this victim mentality where you're better than somebody else because you're more of a victim.
Sure.
It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. It's like they reward No Kid Left Behind. They take the smartest kid and he has to go to wherever the dumbest kid in class is to learn with him, and it just brings him down. And they kill our creativity. And it's like, you have a gift from God, whatever that is. Right? I got lucky because I went to some billionaire's house at 12 years old and liked it and said, I want that lifestyle. And he happened to say the word Wall Street. If he said the word doctor, I would be operating on people right now.
I got you. Yeah.
It just is what it is, right? It's the way cards fell. So it's one of those things where it doesn't matter where the cards fell yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You get a new hand today to play. And what are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit there and say, well, the card hand I had 700 days ago was all 2s, 4s, and 9s offsuit, and I'm going to spend my cards today bitching about that?
Right.
Or am I going to do something about it?
Yeah.
Right? So your question was, what do broke people do right now? What do people with debt do right now? What you do is you take your money seriously. You build yourself a budget.
Mm-hmm.
If you know where your kids are, but you don't know where your dollars are, you're a bad investor. So just like if I didn't know where my kids are, I'd be a bad father. So you have to take accountability and responsibility. Accountability in our culture? Nobody does that. It's our neighbor's fault that I can't pay the electric bill.
It's always somebody else's, yeah.
So you have to take responsibility, accountability, and acknowledge where you are today. I was looking in the mirror freaking 6 months ago. Look at this. I had 3 chins. Now I only have 2. I got rid of 1. So when you look at it, you get to a point in your life where it's like, what are you going to do about it? Life sucks? Cool. That's great. That means God gave you the ability to have some fun and play a game that you can win.
Right,
you can
right.
see results. You're broke? Great. It's the opposite of calories. Calories and dollars are the same. If you're fat, eat less calories. If you're broke, save more money. It's fun.
Yes.
And like budget. And if you have a spouse, do it with them. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what are we going to get rid of? Yeah, it sucks in the beginning. For the first couple of weeks or a month, it's going to suck.
That's what I always hear about this. You got to train yourself. You know, if you have the determination where you can create a budget and stick with it, and again, it takes hands-on. You have to do it with your husband and your wife and your family, and you actually stick to it. And once you get into it, it becomes sort of automatic, and then you just kind of build up from there, right?
Well, another reason why we're broke is that our cultural war on relationships.
Oh, yes.
They feminize men, they masculize women. And they wonder why, like, no one knows what gender they are, and then we don't know our roles that the Bible gave us.
That's very true.
They value the woman's role as a helper and a provide, as a helper and a teammate and a beneficiary to the man, and that's looked upon.
It is.
I'm not going to cook. I'm not going to clean. I'm not going to take care of the kids. What do I look like? A 1960s housewife? Mm-hmm. Those people were raped and beaten. It's like, no, not all of them. Like, that's not what God meant in the Bible.
That's
and
right.
then the men are like, I'm just going to, just chill out and I'm play video games. And I'm just going to just, smoke weed and chill in my grandma's basement and eat cheesy puffs and pizza. And it's like, so you have to understand that you have a role.
Yes.
In your role, like, because again, they, as Alex Jones says, they're turning the frogs gay because they're putting estrogen in our water, they're putting estrogen in our food because a feminine man is easier to control than a masculine patriot.
You nailed it. You're 100% right. And our culture is cooking these things up. They want the younger generation effeminate. They want the younger generation to not be strong and be independent. I mean, it's really sad to watch.
We're watching the destruction of the American dream.
Yes.
We're watching the destruction of individuality. We're watching the destruction of accountability.
Yeah.
We're watching entitlement run rampant.
Big time.
Oh, I'm an American. I deserve to get other people's money. Oh, I'm an immigrant. I'm going to take all this money from other people. It's like, what the hell? We're living in an upside down world.
That's right.
When my family came over as immigrants, they didn't get a damn thing.
Right.
They got, you go work for manual for no pay and you grind your ass off and you live in a freaking hut until you're smart enough to save up enough money that we can actually buy a house. So the funny thing is my immigrant grandparents couldn't even speak English, had a better chance of success than people that are born today.
That's right.
So at least the houses were kind of affordable in the 1940s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. Now they're not even affordable to kids.
No, I've got one daughter in college, and there's no way that she could be out on her own right now. We live in the South. I mean, some of the lowest housing market, values, and it's like, it's no way.
And it's like, what do you do? Okay,
Yeah.
Get out of debt. Number one, do not enslave your future self through debt or qualified contributions. Okay. 401ks, IRAs, SEP, Simples, pension, deferred comp, 457. Do not do it because your accountant is lying to you.
Okay.
I just made a pretty bold statement. Your accountant is lying to you. Is he doing it on purpose? No, he's programmed by the government. But let me explain how he's lying to you. Because men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. So your accountant's going to say, what do you ask your accountant? How do I save money in taxes? Well, he's going to tell you, put money in an IRA, a SEP, a simplified employer pension, a 401k, and you'll save money on this year's taxes. Well, the last time I checked, I've seen an NFL football game where there's a coin flip. And if you lose, you have to defer kickoff to the second half. Remember that part of the football game?
Yeah.
Well, what did that team save? Do they still have to kick off? Mm-hmm. Did they save from kicking off? Mm-mm. So they didn't save anything. But now it's even worse than that, because that was if it's 1 for 1. What does the government get when you write off money in something qualified? I love the government. They're like, does that sound good? Oh, that's qualified money. That's great money. It's like if they have a bill that's like, this bill doesn't hurt kids. It like literally murders kids. Anything that the government says is complete opposite. Like the Patriot Act, the most unpatriotic thing you can think of.
Yes.
Surveillance state, you lose your rights. Yeah, that's a patriot for you. Yeah. So when you understand that the accountant is lying to you, because you're asking him, well, technically he's like, well, I'm saving you money this year, right? He's not saving you anything. Let's say you put 10 grand into a 401k. Mm-hmm. You saved $2,000 in tax bill for 2026.
Wow.
Well, that 10 grand over 10 years is going to be worth 20. In 20 years is going to be worth 40. In 30 years is going to be worth 80. So if I know that's a rule of 72, your money doubles. Well, actually, that's if you get 7.2% average and the 401k is averaging 6.8. So very close to reality.
Right.
Now that 10 grand, I saved 2 grand worth 40, or excuse me, 80. What is, assuming taxes don't go up, what's 40% of 80,000? Well, that would be 32 grand.
Yep. Okay.
So I saved $2,000 in 2026 to pay $36,000 in 2056. What the hell did you save? It cost you 1,600% more in taxes if taxes don't go up, and we owe $40 trillion.
That
so
is
going to go up, they're going to go down. And then the second biggest lie is you're going to be in a lower tax bracket, Roy, when you retire. Oh, so you're telling me I'm going to make the most money ever made in my 50s and 60s, and then I'm going to be living in extreme poverty when I retire. That's why our kids can't find jobs, because these people were told a lie, and people can't retire because they don't want to go to a shitty quality of life when they're 73 years old. They'd rather work.
Right. Wow. Yes.
When you understand the truth of the numbers,
right,
don't listen to the politician. You don't even have to listen to me.
Right.
Just listen to the numbers that I'm saying.
Right.
Because 2 + 2 is always 4. There's no transgender 5 number. It's always 4.
Absolutely.
No matter what, no matter how I feel, no matter what I think, 2 + 2 is 4, period, end of discussion.
Yes, 100%, man.
You are screwing yourself, screwing your spouse, screwing your children, screwing a legacy for them, putting them in high tax, high feed, illiquid accounts. You're 59.5. And then at 72.5, they have required minimum distributions that force you to take the money out at a 50% penalty. 5-0.
Absolutely.
And this is what these people are signing up for, like, oh, I'll sign up for that. Yeah, that sounds good. And it's like, and the millionaires are laughing at them. The billionaires, like, look at these dumb sheep. What are they doing?
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying it's your programming from your education.
Absolutely.
And I'm trying to be animated so that you understand I'm not full of shit here. Right. I'm not the idiot here. Right. This is what's really going on, and you need to wake up and do something about it. So it's so important to make sure that you have a plan, a financial foundation. Text your family, what if I live long? Tax-free pension. What if I die early? Tax-free benefit to the people that God put me on this earth to provide for and protect for. What if I get disabled? A check up to $1.5 million in cash while you're still breathing. And what if I need long-term care? $30,000 a month tax-free. Another lie, because all these lies I've called out, is that they tell you that life insurance is death insurance. It's not. The wealthy people actually have life insurance. The poor people have death insurance. There's no value. You don't get anything until you stop breathing. Life insurance gives you, what if I'm alive? What if I'm in a car accident and survive? What if I just need cash because I want to buy a car?
Right.
What if the stock market crashes and I have a bunch of cash that nobody else does?
Mm-hmm.
I can buy properties at extreme discounts. I could buy Apple or Google or Nvidia or Bitcoin or even XRP.
Right.
I had a client cash out $800,000 to buy XRP when it hit $1.16. He's still down a little, but he's convinced it's going to go back up.
Sure.
So do I. I own a bunch of XRP. So when you look at what is going on, having liquidity, not tying up your money to your 59 and a half, kicking out Wall Street, the demonic leech, kicking out the federal and state governments, another demonic leech, building a financial foundation, protecting the people you love most is the most important thing you can do as a parent, as a spouse, as a business owner. So it's one of those things where this isn't not a want product. Nobody wakes up on a Thursday and is like, oh, how's my long-term care going to do in 33 years? How am I going to be able to wipe my ass when I can't even stand up?
Right.
Nobody thinks of that stuff. So you take care of it when you're young. You build wealth. It's an asset, not a liability. Saves you millions in taxes, hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest, because your own bank, which is one of the 3 books I've written, that are all 5-star rated on Amazon, by the way. Being your own bank, there's a better way than a 401k, and long-term care without long-term pain, that all your listeners can get for free.
Yes. Okay.
I'll give you my books, articles, magazines, website, my podcast, Money Talk with Ironhawk, my radio show, Money Talk with Ironhawk, that's on Apple Podcasts. I'll send you the link, where we have accountants, CPAs, attorneys, estate planners. We have Secret Service. That was with Trump and Biden on my show.
Wow,
that you could it's pretty cool. I did 26 episodes, and now I'm switching to the video platform like you are, Roy.
Okay.
So
I just subscribed actually today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like all you have to do is just go to learnwithhawk.com.
Okay.
That's
and
it.
We have
Learn with Hawk.
Yes, and we have the link up there. That's awesome.
Yeah, never lost a client $1 in 24 years. Never charged a client $1 in 24 years. 0 complaints. 4,000 clients across the country. Over $4 billion with a B dollars of protection and rollovers, and nobody's lost anything because you put your money where the rich people do, insurance companies. They pay dividends. We invested dividends in option contracts. Those option contracts could only go up or be worthless. Next year, guess what you get? Your dividend. So you're made whole. So it's one of those things where if you understand what the wealthy people do, you can have wealth. If you listen to poor people like college professors and teachers and accountants telling you how to manage your money, you're going to stay poor.
I see.
So it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about copying what the wealthy have been doing for 180 years. These strategies been around since 1837.
Wow.
So it's so important. And again, do you know it exists? Well, when's the last time you saw a financial commercial? That would be never. When is the last time you saw a commercial for a pill that can give you explosive diarrhea and your leg can fall off?
Yeah.
Every day.
All the time.
So you have to understand that only you can take the present, God's time, and invest it in enriching your future self. Nobody's going to do it but you.
Very nice. And give us this website one more time. And and also you've got 3 books on Amazon. Is that correct?
That is correct. And I'll give them to your viewers absolutely for free.
Wow. That's awesome.
And if you want to see their ratings, just go to Amazon.com, type in Joseph Lombardi. They all pop up. They got my little fat face picture on the cover of the book, and they have the words. So go to learnwithhawk.com.
Gotcha.
That will send you to a landing page. You type in your information. You could just put, just want the information, do not call me. Or you could say, please call me because it's absolutely free, and I want to learn this information. And if you do that, somebody from my company, we're a nationwide company, will reach out to you. If you have a lot of money, you'll meet directly with me. If you have a little bit of money, you'll meet somebody within my team. So it's very simple, but you need to learn this because you're not going to learn this from Fidelity. You're not going to learn this from the bank. You're not going to learn this from your neighbor. And at the end of the day, this works. 24 years, flawlessly, thousands of. If this didn't work, do you think one person would go to Google and be like, this guy, Joe Lombardi, screwed me? It's not. I never have.
Right. Doesn't
and
exist.
everything is custom. to your specific situation.
Okay.
It's not a cookie color thing. I'm not selling my pillow.
Right.
It's the same damn pillow. It's a custom plan for what you need and what you're trying to accomplish. Time horizon, risk tolerance, money, how long you need the money, liquidity issue. Like, it's so tailored and it's white glove to what you're trying to do. So please, I beg you, not for my selfish reasons, I make more than enough money, but for your growth financially, go to learnwithhawk.com, meet somebody on my team, and we will teach you everything. And at the end of the day, you're like, Joe, I'm not interested. Didn't cost you nothing.
Right. Well, that's awesome, man. I mean, I think what you're doing, I'm glad you came on the show. I think a lot of people need to reevaluate their financial situations, reevaluate the future, like you're talking about. You're on point with how we need to start, and I'm glad. Hopefully, we can get some people sent over your way, sir.
Well, Roy, God put us together. I appreciate being on your show, and I pray to God that He grows you, keeps you safe in your Bills Bondsman company, allows your family to grow, and allows you to protect and provide for the people you love. In Jesus' name.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. And thank you, everybody out in Small Town Underground. It's been a great episode. Make sure that you go check out the links, go check out Joe's books, and above all, let's get everything financially situated. We'll see you later.